The heat is on for the Craftsman Truck Series Championship. Mike Bliss watched his point lead evaporate as Ted Musgrave blistered them all in Fontana.
This is the #1 deal right here to try and win races and win championships in Mopar and Dodge.
Rick Crawford stoked the flames of his title chances with yet another top 5 finish.
Got a surprise for you at Phoenix. That truck will run.
Now in the Arizona desert, 3 drivers remain in the chase for one NASCAR championship. How will they handle the heat?
It's going to be a battle clear to Homestead.
ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, presents NASCAR. Today live from the Jewel in the Desert, Phoenix International Raceway. We proudly present coverage of the Craftsman Truck Series Chevy Silverado 150. This race and one other are all that remains of the 2002 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season, and mathematically 7 different drivers could still win the championship. But realistically, it is now a tight 3-horse race with Mike Bliss holding a slim 68-point lead over Rick Crawford, and last week's winner Ted Musgrave just 39 points back in 3rd spot. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Winston Cup and Busch Series veteran Phil Parsons. Glad to have you with us here in Phoenix. You know, Phil, you talked about 4 weeks ago that all points leader Mike Bliss had to do was focus on leading laps and winning races, and the championship would take care of itself. Now, with 2 events remaining and his nearest competitor just 68 points back, if you're Mike Bliss, how do you play it? What do you do?
I don't think I change a thing, Jerry, because I've got to run up front. I've got to continue to run up front. I've got to watch where that 14 truck is. He's already on the pole. I've got to watch where the 1 truck is. He's behind me. I want to keep him behind me. This thing is so close. I've got to keep doing what I've been doing.
Now, team manager Dave Hughes said they back down a little bit on the gear. They're going to decrease the RPMs and save the engine. He believes that if they simply stay on the lead lap these last 2 events, they will win the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series title.
Jerry, I totally disagree. Look at this. If Bliss finishes 5th both races, he gets 310 points. If Crawford wins, leads the most laps in both races, he gets 370 points. 370 minus 310 is 60. Bliss wins. If he finishes 6th in both races, that's 150 points. That's 10 less. He loses by 2 points. If he finishes in the lead lap only, he finishes 16th. Crawford could leaving this racetrack.
Now, where are the electoral votes on your tally board here? I think the pollsters in the garage, the exit pollsters would agree that it is still a very, very tight race and way too close to call, and that Bliss needs to race for it. In fact, remember, it's going to go down 1 week, the final week in Florida, where they're going to count the final points. And you know how tight those races are always when we get to Florida, right?
And that's right, Jerry. Rick Crawford has won at Homestead, Florida, and he wants to stay in this race for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship. He's still campaigning. So what is his platform? Well, he's got a blue-collar team, and he's got a blue-colored truck. These guys have done it with consistency this year. That's how they've gotten on the ballot, with an average finish of 7.4, but they don't have a lot of special interest support from a primary sponsor. This team hopes to lobby you fans for your vote with a win from the poll today. Something has not happened for nearly 4 years. The problem is that in this election, Mike Bliss is the incumbent.
Hi, I'm Rick Crawford. I sure would like to be your NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion this year. I might not have won as many races as my competitors, but I have a lot of desire. And with your vote, my fellow Americans, I could be your NASCAR champion next year.
This message brought to you by the committee to elect Rick Crawford champion, funded by Circle Bar Racing. Tom Mitchell, president. Ray Stonkus, chairman.
Well, in this election for champion, the 3rd contender is Ted Musgrave, and he has done everything that he has needed to do to gain valuable points. Last week in Fontana, he won the race and led the most laps, gaining those extra 10 bonus points. But today, Ted, you start at the middle of the pack. Last week, you were in the way back and you won it. Can you win this race today?
Well, we can. You know, Team Mopar's pretty good. You know, the truck's pretty good. Mike Bliss, I'm not too sure about him, but we got to see if we can't do it like we did last time, just rattle him up a little bit. Starting 14th, yeah, it's a little harder here at Phoenix than it was last week, but got a pretty good truck behind me.
Okay, well, Bliss and Crawford, they better watch out, because anything is possible with Musgrave behind the wheel.
Well, guys, the best points race in all of NASCAR is about to commence a 2-race countdown. When we come back, the starting lineup and the green flag from Phoenix International Raceway. Stay tuned. NASCAR trucks coming your way. Our live coverage of exciting NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action from Phoenix International Raceway is being brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Speaking of trucks, 42 trucks came here to attempt to qualify. 36 made it in the field. 6 will have to go home. So let's take a look at our starting lineup as 44-year-old Rick Crawford captured his second ever pole position in NASCAR's Craftsman Truck Series. His first in Phoenix. He will lead him down the Circle Bar Motel and RV Ford alongside impressive rookie Bill Lester. 11th time this year Lester has been the highest qualifying rookie and first time ever on the front row. Good job for Bill in the Dodge. Row 2, how about reigning Busch Series and Winston Cup Rookie of the Year, Busch Series champion, I should say, Kevin Harvick, making his 75 career start. Still hadn't won in trucks, and beside him, 4-time winner this year, the Power Stroke Diesel Ford for Terry Cook. Back in row 3, last year's pole sitter here, making only his second start this year in the Harris Trucking Dodge on the outside of row 3, and inside, of course, our points leader, Mike Bliss, the IWX Motor Freight Knights End Chevrolet, a 5-time winner this year. In row 4, Jason Leffler, the Team ASC CarQuest Racing Dodge. 6 times he's been a runner-up. When will this team win? Could it be today? And beside him, how about the winner in Las Vegas, the Spears Manufacturing Chevy for David Starr. And back in row 5, Matt Craft in the Menard Sealmaster Chevrolet. Good qualifying effort, very good at happy hour for the 88 truck. And beside him, the Daytona and Michigan winner, the Dickies Dodge with Square D on board for Bobby Hamilton Racing and Robert Presley.
Row 6, Dennis Setzer, 8th in points, 2 top 3s in his last 3 races in the Makita Chevy. On the outside, 19-year-old Regan Smith in the Diamond Cut Jeans Ford. Row 7, Bobby Dowder, 4 top 10s this year in the Stanley Steamer Chevy. And last week's winner, Ted Musgrave and the Mopar Dodge. Row 8, Ken Schrader, runner-up yesterday in the Southwest Tour race, driving the Federated Auto Parts Chevy. And John Wood driving Greg Biffle's winning truck from last year here at Phoenix. Row 9, on the inside, Travis Quapple, top 5s in his last 3 starts in the Cat Rental Store Chevy. And Lance Nord, 13th in points in the Express Personnel Services Chevy. In row 10, Andy Houston, 4 top 5 finishes here at Phoenix in the Billy Ballou Ford. An impressive rookie, Ryan Hempel, looking to go full-time next year in the Bobby Hamilton Dodge.
And the rest of the remaining starters, Stan Boyd and Portengay back in row 11. Row 12, Brendan Gaughan, the leading Rookie of the Year contender, and Jason Small, an impressive rookie. Morgan Shepherd and Carlos Contreras back in row 13. Row 14, Brian Rose and Coy Gibbs. Look for him to get better and better as the day goes on. Lance Hooper back in row 15 alongside Mike Kofer, the former Super Bowl kicker. Randy McDonald and Corey Kruisman making his very first start. Impressive story about Kruisman, we'll share it with you a little later on. Jerry Hill and Blake Mallory in row 17. And Phil Bonifield and Eric Jones rounding out the starting field in row 18. Take a look at our race description here today, where it's 150 laps, 150 miles on a 1-mile oval. Turns banked differently. 11 degrees in turns 1 and 2. Only 9 degrees in 3 and 4. More sweeping in 3 and 4. Front straightaway 3 degrees. Back stretch 9 degrees. Purse over $445,000. The race record, 3-time champion Jack Sprague holds it, set back in April of 1997. And the pit window, folks, take a look at that. 80 to 90 laps. They can go beyond the halfway point on fuel. Maybe 1 stop and 1 stop only from some of the better trucks.
That's very true. A lot of the guys we're talking about maybe only making 1 pit stop in this race.
As we are set for the green flag, 2 races remain here in the tightest points chase in all of NASCAR, the Craftsman Truck Series, as Rick Crawford comes down for the green and maybe his shot to close the gap toward a title.
Championship leader right there, Mike Bliss, the 16 truck, is ahead down in turn number 3.
Jason Leffler down on the inside, trying to hold a position behind Terry Cook. Going beneath the Goodyear Eagle Bridge, coming down to complete lap number 1, and Crawford will lead. And that's very important. That is 5 bonus points for leading the first lap.
That's one of his goals for this race. He wants to lead, and he wants to lead the most laps and win this race. He's already got one of those goals accomplished right now.
Now the margin is just 63 points as you ride along with the Spears Manufacturing onboard camera. For David Starr, who's won the pole the last 2 events and won his very first race for Spears Manufacturing, Wade and Connie Spears at Las Vegas.
Had a great season. He's 4th in points. When Mike Bliss started this race, Jerry, that eliminated 4th through 7th. So right now, we indeed have a 3-man race for the championship, not necessarily just for this race.
And we're going to share with you the fact you saw some outsiders coming in. There is Musgrave trying to battle on the inside of Andy Houston. You mentioned how good Andy Houston had been here over the years. 4 top 5 finishes, driving for Billy Ballou here today in Billy Ballou's Ford, looking for sponsorship to run in 2003.
Great to have Andy back in the series. He's had a good couple top 15 finishes in that truck for Billy Ballou. Look forward to him staying with us next year.
Andy 12th at Las Vegas and California. Looking to get a top 10 here today, and Musgrave mowing him down. Let's check in his pits with Ray.
Well, Jerry, the fact that they started 14th, no big concern for these guys. Ted Musgrave said his truck was really good at the bottom of the racetrack, especially in turns 1 and 2 after happy hour. So he believes that's where he's going to do most of his passing today. And they think probably 10, 12 laps, and he should be up in the top 5.
Making a move inside of 19-year-old Regan Smith out of Cato, New York. Driving for the Mittler brothers. You know, the last time the Mittler brothers brought a truck here was 2 years ago. You knew who the driver was? Jamie McMurray.
How about that?
How about Jamie? What a job he has done in Cup and Busch.
He's had a good last 4 or 6 weeks, something like that, hasn't he?
I would say 5 laps into the Chevy Silverado 150 here. Musgrave in the Mopar Dodge. 107 points back. Crawford was 68 back. Bliss was the points leader. On board with a guy who's had very good success there over the years, Kenny Schrader, driving the Federated Auto Parts Chevy.
Had a great run yesterday in the Southwest Tour race. Finished second, blistered a left rear tire, and that's what got him beat the last couple laps, but had a terrific run.
Schrader, a 12-time winner at this racetrack. He's won 4 midgets, 3 Southwest Tour, 3 Silver Crowns, 1 West to West, and almost won, as you said yesterday, with a very good run in the Tour car.
He's not very versatile, is he?
Oh, not at all. How about some of the outsiders coming in, what we call the intruders in the series? We mentioned Schrader at the bottom, who's also already got a Craftsman Truck Series win back in '95 at Saugus. There's Kevin Harvick, who's finished second 5 times, making his 75th start. In fact, Harvick's last start was a second-place finish to Tony Stewart in a great race at Richmond. And Stacy Compton has 2 wins in the series at Portland and Topeka, both in 1998, making his second start. In fact, Compton will also run the finale at Homestead Miami Speedway next Friday afternoon.
It's the very same truck that Kevin Harvick finished second at Richmond a few races ago.
Great battle late in that race for Tony Stewart, who's trying to hang on to win a Winston Cup title and took time out to win a Truck Series race. So what an effort, what a year for Tony Stewart and that whole Joe Gibbs team. And there's Kevin Harvick in the number 6.
I was talking to Ed Berry, here as crew chief, this morning. I said, is this the last race for you guys? He said, well, as far as I know, it's the last race, but Kevin can change his mind. He has that ability, so you never know.
If he were to win this thing or get just that close again, he may go to Homestead. We'd love to have him. That's Bill Lester in the 8 truck right in front, and Lester's sliding a little bit. First time ever on the front row. He's qualified 3rd 3 times this year, and still looking for that very first top 10 as he's being passed now by Harvick. Let's check in the Lester pits with Amy Eves.
And he's hanging tough there, Jerry. Talked to crew chief Kip McCord, and he said that throughout the entire race, he was going to be doing a lot of reminding to his rookie driver, Bill Lester, about finesse, because they do want that top 10 finish. He's finished 11th once, and that was at Texas. Totally different ball game when you're here at Phoenix, and the finesse is very important, both on the brake pedal and on that throttle pedal. Bill is determined to get that top 10 today.
Bill, a very calculating driver, has a degree in electrical engineering and computer science from Cal Berkeley. Can't get any smarter than that. Put this guy behind the wheel. And what a job. He's really come on here late in the year. His first full year basically ever in any kind of stock car series. He came from road racing.
We saw him go through turns 1 and 2, and he got a little bit wiggly, got out of shape. That allowed Kevin Harvick and Mike Busch to get by him. The next time he went through there, he's a little bit easier on the brakes getting in, kept the truck straight, and stayed with those guys.
Watching that battle for 5th and 6th. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th. Lester, Cook, and Leffler in the early laps at Phoenix International. Early laps of the Chevy 150. It all comes down to this, the season finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. One of the tightest battles in Truck Series history is among 3 tough competitors. Rick Crawford gained his first win here in 1998. Ted Musgrave returns as defending race champion, and points leader Mike Bliss makes it 3 for the title chase. Join us as we crown a new champion next Friday, 3:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. And there is our leader, Rick Crawford. Second in the point standings, picking up his 2nd career pole. He had a pole early in the year at Dover, Delaware. Sliding inside the 79 truck of Jerry Hill, veteran out of Port Tobacco, Maryland. Crawford finished runner-up 3 times when he was running the All-Pro Series. Finished second in points. Would love to be able to get his first ever NASCAR championship, but he's got a ways to go. But he's on the move here early on. Let's check in his pits with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, all three of the guys that we were talking about in this championship chase have one chassis for this weekend and a very different truck for next week. Now, Rick Crawford brought CB number 6, and that's a truck they ran this year at Richmond, Pikes Peak, and Milwaukee, and it also finished third here 1 year ago at Phoenix. But I asked him, why did you not bring CB4, their very best truck? He said, I'm saving that one for Homestead. But my question, Phil, is should he save his best truck for Homestead, and is the one they brought here today good enough?
Well, it certainly looks good enough right now, Ray, but I think every truck is a little bit different. I think Ray Stonkus and Rick got together and said, hey, I think we can win this race with this truck, and I think we probably will be better with CB4 at Homestead. It will have a better chance at winning that race. So I think the small differences are what makes the difference, and I think they felt like this truck would be good here, and the other one would be great at Homestead.
And as you said at the top of the show, you got to be good at both events. I mean, if you're Mike Bliss, and I firmly believe that this race is far from too close to call. He's going to have to go for it here. By the way, Bliss is being shown in third spot. Crawford the leader, Harvick in second, Bliss third, Terry Cook and Jason Leffler the top 5. Here's the 88, Matt Crafton. Good run for Crafton. Good qualifying effort for Matt. Started back in 9th spot, holding his own in the top 10. In the Menards Chevrolet, Duke Thorson on machine. Jerry Cook and the guys, they struggled yesterday in practice and prior to qualifying, but Jerry Cook and Matt got together and somehow made the truck turn better. It was very tight, particularly entering turn 1 and turn 3.
Jerry, I think that's what you hear from all these guys down here is getting the truck to turn in the center corner. A lot of racetracks, but especially these flat, mid-size ovals like here at Phoenix.
Talk about a driver who's really gotten it done here this year. Bobby Dotter, impressive in the Stanley Steamer Chevrolet. 4 top 10 finishes. He had a 4th place run at Martinsville in this truck. He said, this is our best truck. All 4 of my top 10s have come in this truck, trying to hold on and get the Stanley Steamer folks to come full time for 2003. Let's check in the Dotter pits with Ray.
Well, Jerry, they also had some pretty good runs at IRP and Richmond. Those were top 10s, and South Boston also. And part of that is Bobby really seems to accelerate on flat tracks. So I said, you ought to be really good to close out the season. He said, Ray, we've got to be good because we've got to get these guys from Stanley Steamer psyched up about this team. He's been pretty happy so far today, just a little bit tight off of turn number 4. Qualified 13th today, right now running 12th.
Bobby, a former most popular driver in NASCAR's Winston West Series, finished second here in the Winston West race back in 2000 when he was runner-up in the point standings to Brendan Gaughan. So Bobby can get it done, and this team just needs a little bit of help financially. And we got a spin.
Spin coming off of 2. Yellow is out. Yellow is out.
And that is the youngster Regan Smith, a 19-year-old, making only a second NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start.
Great qualifying effort. Qualified in 12th position. Not qualified some real good trucks, but looks like no damage. Didn't make any contact with anything, so he should be able to get some fresh tires on there and be able to continue on.
Regan says he's got some opportunities to test some Busch Series cars next year, but would like to be able to come and run in the NASCAR Craftsman trucks.
So there's Andy Houston, the 15 trucks. Obviously no contact. He just got a little bit loose coming through turn number 2 there. Andy barely was able to get by. Nobody else made contact with him. So, Jerry, we're about 24 laps into this thing. I don't think we're going to see very many pit stops unless the guy, another angle there, you see him just lost traction in the rear of the truck. Andy Houston barely able to get by. But I don't think we'll see a whole lot of pit stops because we're a little bit too early.
Regan Smith, the champion and rookie of the year in the Allison Legacy Car Series back in 1999. 2 years of the Hooters Pro Cup, the USAR Series, finished second up at Chemung, New York, and has had 10 top 5 finishes. What's the strategy here on pit stops? You think it's a little early on?
I think it's a little bit early. This race is 150 laps. We talked about fuel mileage. Some of these guys may run 90 miles and may be able to stretch a little bit farther, but they can't make it from here. Unless their truck is way off, I don't think you'll see these guys pit.
Just joined our coverage. The next to the last race of the year here at Phoenix International Raceway. Closest point battle in all of NASCAR. 107 points separating the top 3. Only 68 points separating Bliss and Crawford, and now that Crawford has led a lap, make that 63 points. Back with the green flag and more racing at Phoenix in just a moment. The name Ron Hornaday is synonymous with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The two-time champion has scored 2 victories here at Phoenix International Raceway. First in the spring of '98 and again in 1999. And it is our pleasure to be joined now by the two-time Craftsman Truck Series champion, Ron Hornaday Jr. And Ron, this place has been awfully good to you over the years.
It's been great. I love Phoenix, and it's so different. I'm glad I'm not running against these guys. Anybody's title right there. This track is so unique, and the guy who gets the truck to turn off the bottom will be great.
You were the last guy to come here in 1998 behind the points leader and be able to make up the deficit in the last couple of events and win a championship in the final race. So that could be an omen for Crawford and these guys.
Yeah, Ricky deserves one. He's been running awful well for all these years, and like he said earlier, he hadn't got a bunch of wins in this series, but he's been in the top 5 a lot of times. So I hate to be the guy sitting right there, but you know, he's got the clean air with them guys behind him. I'd like to see a Chevrolet win though.
Okay. What about the Mopar Dodge? What's going on with Ted Musgrave? Let's check in his pits with Ray.
Well, Jerry, he was a little bit loose center off, so they decided to come in and pit on lap 25, put 4 tires on it, and down 3 rounds on the track bar. Musgrave saying hopefully that'll make him a little bit better from the center off the corner.
Tough to get these trucks here, Ron Hornaday, to be able to turn in the corners. Everyone complains about them pushing on a flat racetrack.
Well, now we're getting the bodies. These guys formed a lot of wind tunnels. When we started out with Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, we basically a square box and try to get the things down. They're really running soft springs. They're down to 450, 500-pound front springs.
And Harvick is down on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get back Crawford here on the restart. Bliss, the points leader, right up behind Crawford. If you're Rick Crawford, who do you block?
Try to block them both. Mike Bliss awfully racy here. We said he needs to run up front, and there he is racing with Kevin Harvick.
Those rapid restarts have long been known in this series as the Ron Hornaday restart. You were the best at getting that, grabbing a gear coming off on the flag.
Well, I still am, I think. You know, they haven't said anything, but it's definitely knowing what their car's going to do or the truck getting in the corner, and that's what Kevin's learned a bunch. It's not actually the gear ratio, anticipating the guy in front of you when he takes off and trusting your truck getting into that corner.
You know, Jerry, we've talked about how really Mike Bliss struggles on starts and restarts. This is probably one of his better restarts this year. He was able to get by Kevin Harvick, even though Kevin Harvick tried to get by Rick Crawford. But Mike right now is on the gas and going.
Yeah, I've been talking to Mike Bliss quite a bit, and his truck said it takes him about 10 laps to get going. We've been trying to put that in our Busch car, and it seems like when I start out free, my car gets freer. But these trucks just seem to, you got to do that because of the aerodynamic wise.
By the way, speaking of Busch cars, Ron Hornaday will be driving the Dr. Pepper Chevrolet from 23rd starting spot on Saturday, the Bash Supermarket 200. So we wish you well there. You're talking about pulling for a Chevy. You certainly have. You got a dog in that fight.
Yeah. We're actually pretty good. We missed it in qualifying. We got really free and got a great opportunity to drive Kerry Earnhardt's car in the Winston Cup. We're actually pretty good in practice, but the bad part is we qualify right after the truck race here, and we'll go out 4th. So if they don't blow too much dryer stuff on there, we're going to be all right.
The last guy to visit us in the booth here won the race the next day. It's happened twice this year. In fact, I think Biffle won the truck race and the Busch race here last year. So we've been good luck for guys in our booth. So and we don't mind you splitting the winnings either.
I could do that if I can win one, because if I get another top 5, Dave Carroll and Dr. Pepper's going to give me an extra 50 grand. So
all right.
I'll help you guys out a little bit. I'll buy you a soda pop.
We'll come to the party. Hey, look at this side-by-side action. Great action, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series style. Leffler trying to hold the bottom groove, and Terry Cook running very good up high. Speaking of Terry Cook, let's check in his pits.
Well, Jerry, I'm not sure how they qualified so well, because the 29 truck was very bad in practice, but they made it a lot better for the race. But Terry's been on the radio telling his crew chief, Bob Keselowski, that he's really tight off of 2, but he doesn't have the same problem off of 4. Why in the world would that be?
These racetracks are shaped enough different, as Ron will tell you. These corners aren't the same. One end of the racetrack does one thing, and the other end of the racetrack does another thing. This racetrack reminds me a lot of St. Louis. You've got a tight turn 1 and 2 with a little more backing and a long sweeping 3 and 4 like St. Louis does. So it's a lot like St. Louis.
Well, the leaders, I mean, you could actually see them arc the truck into the corner and try to get good run off without get that rear tire hot. And that's what these guys are trying to do. So
truck leads right there. Nice and smooth.
We are in the early laps of the Chevy Silverado 150 here at Phoenix International Raceway. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Phil Parsons, our special guest Ron Hornaday Jr. in the booth. Ray Dunlap and Amy, he's covering the action on pit road. As we are watching exciting racing everywhere. How about the 17 truck, Stacy Compton, who was the pole sitter here last year in that truck, didn't lead a lap, making only his 2nd start this year. Had a great run at Richmond, but looking for that first win this year in this race, and also going to run at Homestead.
Yeah, Stacy City had a pretty good truck. You know, we talk all the time about happy hour and how the guys were in happy hour. their happy hour was 17 minutes. So a lot of guys didn't get a chance to make any changes during happy hour. But Stacy Compton said he had a very good truck. He would like to have had a little more time, but he said it's a good truck.
Let's check in the Harris Trucking pit where Amy is standing by.
Well, and to follow up on Stacy Compton, it is a good truck, but when he has gotten into lap 35 now, he's realizing that the truck is very loose off and tight in the center down in turns 3 and 4. He says he needs forward bite, and he wants them to fix this tight condition, and then he thinks it would help a bunch. But again, they cannot do that until their first round of pit stops, so Stacy's just going to have to hold on to it for now.
Well, we might mention that Rick Crawford is our leader. The guy he's chasing in points is actually chasing him on the racetrack. That's Mike Bliss. And Ted Musgrave, who qualified way back in 14th. When we come back from commercial, I will bet you Musgrave will be in the top 10 on his way to the front. And for all the news and notes on motorsports action around the world, join John Kernan and company tonight, 6:30 Eastern Time. RPM tonight, updates on what happened here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, what's going to happen in Busch Series action on Saturday, Winston Cup Bud Pole qualifying. Our buddy Hornaday here in the booth trying to get that car in the top 10. Lots of action, all the news and notes, RPM tonight with John Kernan at 6:30 Eastern Time. And I told you Ted Musgrave would be battling toward the front. He and David Starr staying pretty well together, coming toward the front. Musgrave now being shown in 9th position.
That's actually a pass for 8th right now. He passed David Starr. That will be for the 8th position as we cycle back by the start-finish line. So sounded like you were a prophet.
How about that, huh? Never turned a profit in anything, so I need to be able to predict something. He's moving in on the 17 truck. That is Stacy Compton. Presley is there. As Presley has gone by, 18 Robert Presley has gone by Compton. Now he sails by Compton. How in the world does he make? I mean, it's a flat racetrack, tough to pass. They say that no one told Musgrave.
I didn't know if he took 2 tires or not. He did take 4 tires. So right there, it's going to help him out a little bit. But I seen yesterday with Schrader. I mean, he took tires and went the rest of the way, and he just missed him by a little bit. So it's going to be a plus to him. I don't think Ted's going to have to pit and stay out there until they cycle back around.
2-time NASCAR Craftsman Truck titleist Ron Hornaday Jr. joining us in the booth as a guest analyst, along with our buddy season-long analyst Phil Parsons, Busch Series and Winston Cup veteran. And Phil, yesterday you commented during the happy 15 minutes we saw that Musgrave's truck, even then, was just glued to the inside and the turns. That's hard to do here. You've driven this track a lot of times.
That is, and I think as the tires get more laps on, you see the guys they're driving the corner and they slide up in the corner. You see Ted right on the bottom of the racetrack. If he can continue to run that line while these guys slide up in the center of the corner and be able to drive up beside him, then he's going to pass a lot of trucks, as he has. He's already up to the 7th position.
And on the move also, how about Kenny Schrader? You mentioned the great run he had in the Southwest Tour event here on Thursday afternoon. That's Schrader in the 52, the Federated Auto Parts Chevy. Behind him, Travis Quapple in the Cat Rental Chevy. A lot at stake for Mike Eddington, Rick Wren, Travis Quapple, and this 60 team. A lot needs to happen for them here in the next couple of weeks.
Well, sure does. We've documented the fact that Cat Rental Stores is not coming back, and what a great team this is. And hopefully we can, hopefully they can get a sponsor and continue this thing going, because they've got an awfully strong team, great shop back there in North Carolina. So this team deserves a sponsor, and hopefully they'll get one very soon.
With more on Travis Quapple, let's check in with Amy.
And they started the weekend off with a big disappointment. This team has worked very hard building a brand new truck for Phoenix. And in practice, Travis crashed it. So he is in his backup truck. And what they tried to do was put the exact same setup in that primary truck into this backup truck. It was very disappointing for him when he went out and qualified 17th. But Rick Wren, a smart crew chief, knows exactly what it takes to get that 60 truck up front. You can guarantee when they come down pit lane, they'll be making a lot of adjustments on Travis Quapple's machine.
And Quapple, this backup truck was the one he started 15th with at South Boston and had a top 5 finish. So this truck is known for coming from the middle of the pack toward the front. And again, Travis Quapple in the Cat Rental Chevy getting it done here as he's being shown in 11th position, easing in on the top 10.
I think Rick Wren and Travis Quapple are really some of the best guys at making changes after happy hour. Again, after happy 15 minutes. Because there'd be times when Travis said admittedly this morning, we were not very good in happy hour, but they make changes. Rick Wren has been around enough. Travis has got enough experience now, and he's really running well. He started 15th. He's already up to the 11th position.
And speaking of up to position, how about Musgrave inhales the 88, and Matt Crafton's running awfully well in the Menard. Take a look at the guys on the move that have gained spots. Musgrave up 8 spots, Quapple up 6, Brendan Gaughan, a 2-time winner and leading rookie contender, up 10 spots. Coy Gibbs up 12. Now Gibbs, this is the truck, by the way, that Gibbs led 53 laps with the South Boston, so he's still looking for his first win in the series prior to going to Busch next year. Brian Rose, good run for Brian Rose, up 7 spots in 20th position.
Talked to Coy yesterday afternoon, and he said, I just can't quite figure this place out. But he's been a lot of places this year that he didn't really run all that well in the past, but he's been so good at so many places. Looks like he's going good. Bobby Dowder's having a good run, and here goes Coy by Bobby Dowder now.
Stanley Steamer Chevrolet and MB&A Chevy getting it done in action. And here on pit road, Stacy Compton had been slowing down. You saw it a moment ago, Ron Hornaday Jr. You said, boy, there's got to be something wrong with this truck.
It looked like he broke a valve spring or something like that. The truck started slowing down the last couple of laps, and now he's in the pit, so they got the hood open.
Stacy finished 8th at Richmond. This is the same truck that Darrell Waltrip drove to a great 6th place finish at Indianapolis Raceway Park. DW had a great run at Martinsville, had a gear problem there, didn't finish. IRP qualified 14th, finished 6th. Andy Houston drove this truck to a 21st place finish at South Boston. Stacy a top 10 at Richmond. And of course, on pit road here at about the 1/3 way mark with the hood up.
They've got the hood up, and they've got some guys inside the truck. It looks maybe like an ignition problem. There you have it right there. They've got a plug wire that got against the header, burned it in two, so that's why he was down a cylinder. Really unfortunate, because really nothing wrong with the engine. They just burned a plug wire in two.
And Dean Johnson will come to get that repaired. Here's the guy they're chasing. How about a little Circle Bar RV and Motel Park? Ford leading here at Phoenix. He's the guy they want. Back in a moment.
You've had Childress, Hendrick, Roush, Earnhardt's team win the championship. What a season it would be for Tom Mitchell's team to win the championship. That's what I want to win it for. And so I look at it like that, but it's been a dream season for Rick Crawford to build a independent race team to do as good as it's doing this year, and we're really strong, and I'm happy to be part of it.
And boy, is he ever popular among the competitors, among his peers. He talked about there have only been 4 previous champions. They've all been fully funded. He drives for a wonderful guy who owns a motel and a truck stop in Ozona, Texas. No major sponsor. Rick Crawford, Desert Desire. He has led every single lap, set on the pole, led every lap thus far. His best finish this year, 2nd at Nashville. His best finish here, 3rd. Last year he started and finished 3rd. He has 1 career victory, and it has been a long, long time. Try 118 races ago, back in April of 1998 at Homestead. Wouldn't this be a huge, huge upset and an incredible effort for Rick Crawford if he could come back and pull off not only this win, but maybe a shot at the championship?
You know, Jerry, if he could pull off this win, he would not be the first winner in his family. His son Adam won a Bandolero race a few weeks ago in Mobile for his first career victory. So he would be the 2nd winner in his family if he could win here.
There's Mike Bliss, currently 2nd spot, started 5th. Battle for 4th, and you've been watching this, Ronnie.
It's been, well, actually, the 2 truck was catching the 6 truck, and I don't know where Musgrave came from. He was about 15 back with the new tires, so it's going to be curious what Ted's going to do when everybody picks what tires on, if he's going to stay out or not.
You hear Jason talking about his tires being gone. We've already run 60 laps, so it looks like, you know, so many times this year, Ron, as you can tell, tires have not made that much difference. But the way Musgrave is marching through the field, it looks like tires are making a difference here.
It is. Plus, he must have made some changes. I talked to Gene Lee this morning, and he was sitting there because they're running a cup car with Musgrave right there, and they said they've changed sway bar and the thing. He's going to put a rubber in the right rear, so they might have had to take the rubber out. He might have been too free at the beginning of the run.
Those are the words of Ron Hornaday Jr., 2-time winner here, 2-time Truck Series champion. Of course, and our regular analyst, Phil Parsons, discussing what you have to do to get around this tough 1-mile desert oval. Battle here for 9th spot as Travis Quapple continuing his march. He has gone by Dennis Setzer to take the 9th spot away and move the Makita Tools Chevy for Setzer back in the 10th position. Talking about all the sponsorships for championships, the Napa colors, very good for you. You won 2 championships driving for Napa, and Dale and Teresa Earnhardt. I mean, some probably very, very special memories of your years here in this series.
Definitely. I owe everything to Dale and Teresa, that phone call and moving to North Carolina and getting on the map. You know, what you guys do on TV and winning races, it's actually done that. And then, you know, I don't know if you guys know it, but I'm going to drive the AC Delco Chevrolet for Richard Childress next year and run that. So I've got the same colors, back to blue and white again, so maybe we can win some races there.
Well, congratulations. That's sort of like going home to the same big family.
Well, that's exactly what I said at Charlotte. We announced it's like going back home, because I worked with Will Lynn and all them guys against the trucks when we were running through Earnhardt, and we've shared notes a lot, so it's basically going back home.
now saying, well, this one guy's going toward the front here. Look at Musgrave, and that's not just some also-ran, by the way. That's Kevin Harvick. He's just working him beneath there. Harvick in the 6 truck, and Musgrave's Mopar Dodge on a mission.
He is setting a torrid pace right now. It's incredible how fast that truck went. Again, he has fresher tires, but he had to restart all the way at the back of this pack after that early caution flag, and he's driven all the way up into the 3rd position.
More on Musgrave from Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, keep in mind, he's run 3 races here. Ted finished 4th in 95, 5th in 96, and 6th last year. He's never really been in contention to win, and he has never led a lap in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here at Phoenix. I don't think it'll be long until he breaks that record.
And our points leaders are now 1, 2, 3. Not in that order specifically. Crawford is our leader, has led all 64 laps thus far. And Mike Bliss is in 2nd spot, although he still leads the points right now as the points will be distributed. It'll be 53-point separation. Musgrave 112 back as he is being shown in 3rd spot. Going beneath the Stan Boyd number 89. Checkers Auto Parts machine for Boyd.
Just like we heard from Mike Bliss, it's going to go down to Homestead. If it continues like this, it's going all the way to Miami and Homestead.
Only 3 times in the history of this racetrack has the winner started outside the top 10. Biffle started 11th a year ago. Musgrave started 14th here today. Back at Phoenix International Raceway, we are under caution for the 2nd time today, coming out on lap 69. And one of our rookie contenders, Jason Small, out of Bakersfield, California. There's the 07. There's Jason. He's climbed out of his truck and walked away. But a fairly scary moment just a moment ago for Jason.
He's coming off turn 4 right here. Now you see the big fire underneath. He obviously got some oil down on the headers and looked like he blew an engine over in turn 1 and 2. Ron and I were looking at it, and he drove the truck on around and caught a little bit of fire, but jumped out. And fortunately, everything's okay.
It's a shame. I mean, he was doing a great job with that backup truck and Bobby Daughters has been trying to run well, and it's probably his 3rd or 4th motor he's blowing this year. But
had a great run at Vegas. Finished in the top 10 in Vegas. A good run.
Had a 9th at Daytona to begin the year, and a 10th at Vegas. Only 5 points out of behind Bill Lester in the rookie battle for 2nd spot. And Jason, a former Winston West Series Rookie of the Year. Looking, there's a lot of rumors about him maybe in another ride next year full-time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, but a very, very stout competitor having trouble here just past the halfway point, or as we approach the halfway point here at Phoenix in the Chevy Silverado 150.
We know all these guys are going to pit. The pits are closed right now because Jason's truck is right at the entrance to pit road. Right at the entrance to pit, right there. Just to the right of that is the entrance to the pits. So right here is the entrance to the pits. So they don't want to take any chance of guys trying to come in the pits. So they'll probably wait till they get his truck out of the way. Then they'll open pit road, and all the guys will be on pit road.
You saw Ken Smith waving that red flag with the yellow cross on it, indicating that there is Ken, the NASCAR official, that the pits are closed. And probably next time by, as the pace truck comes by, they will wave the green flag and open the pits. Well, how about some finishing action for NHRA? Automobile Club of Southern California Nationals qualifying today, 10 Eastern Time, 7 Pacific. Final eliminations tomorrow at 5 Eastern Time on ESPN and 7 Eastern Time on ESPN2. So a lot of NHRA action coming your way from Southern California, the Automobile Club of Southern California Nationals. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
The Kenny Bernstein's final ride this weekend, Doc.
And I had a chance early in the year to go to the Craftsman Nationals in St. Louis and see Kenny win for the very first time in his hometown of St. Louis. He took the big Budweiser machine to a top fuel win there. Well, the pits are open. They're at 45 miles an hour headed towards you, Amy East.
And our championship point leader, Mike Bliss's team, is in a scramble. Just minutes ago, let's say seconds ago, they decided to change the entire set of tires that they're going to put underneath this 16 truck. So they had to get the other tires up to the wall, decrease the air pressure, and increase in some of the tires because they're trying to fix that tight condition. They're also going to put one round up on the track bar. So a lot of adjustments for this 16 truck. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Amy, just the opposite down here. Not many changes at all for Ted Musgrave. 4 tires and fuel only. They're going to do the exact same thing for Rick Crawford on the 14. The guys have done their service on the right side. Cal Brodby and Bobby Showalter changed the tires, and Crawford will be the first guy off pit road, followed by Harvick, and then Bliss, then Musgrave. So these guys not making very many changes to these chassis down here at all. I'm a bit surprised.
Wow, good job by Bobby Showalter and company on the 14 truck. Great pit stop for Rick Crawford's crew. 4 tires for Musgrave, and we'll talk about what the adjustment will do for Mike Bliss when we come back and get set for the green flag from Phoenix in just a moment. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action on ESPN, and Rick Crawford, who was our pole sitter, led the first 71 laps, pitted a moment ago, was the first among those pitting to come back on the racetrack. However, Robert Presley stayed out a moment ago to lead. Apparently it's to lead a lap, but what's the reason that Robert stayed out, Amy?
Well, that's right, Jerry. They wanted to lead the lap, and the reason of not pitting with the leaders is because there is a really deep, raspy noise coming out from underneath that 18 truck. They feel as though they are down a cylinder, so they know they are no longer a contender in today's race. Let's take advantage of getting the 5 points by pitting the second time by. They went under the hood, gave him 4 tires, and sent Presley back out, indeed down 1 cylinder.
Well, that explains it, Amy. Thank you very much. Robert had a good run going at California last week, and apparently the engine started bogging down on the last few laps and wouldn't pull, so he didn't get a top 5 finish, but had a good run all day in that Dickey Square D Dodge.
Talked to Danny Rollins this morning, and he said, hey, we thought we had an engine problem at California because the truck was so good. He said, but we got here and had an ignition problem, same truck. So he said, I think it was more of an ignition problem at California than it was an engine problem. But right now, obviously, when he went by our position right here, you could tell that something was wrong with that truck, something really, really bad.
Great crowd on hand here at Phoenix. They say over 30,000 is the estimate here, so a good crowd here. Is a big, big weekend for NASCAR's Craftsman Trucks, Busch Grand National, and Winston Cup. We started off with the Craftsman Truck Series, and Crawford will lead them down for the restart here.
I think you'll see the 6 truck jump on the outside on Kevin Harvick. He's sticking his nose in there.
And let's see if Ron Hornaday Jr. can make that call. Yep, exactly. He's going to try on the outside. Here comes Harvick pedaling for all he's worth.
He's going to have to lead a lap, I think, because it's going to actually loosen up Rick's truck getting in the corner there, Phil.
It sure is. Rick really wants to at least lead lead 76 laps, so he's guaranteed to get that extra 5 points. But Kevin Harvick's not thinking about points right now.
Harvick, the big snap-on Chevrolet, trying to get outside the Ford. It's Ford and Chevy here at Phoenix, and it looks like Harvick led that lap.
That's what it showed. That's what it looked like, but it shows 77 there and 76 on the board, so Crawford does got to lead another lap here.
Kevin Harvick has never won in NASCAR's Craftsman Trucks, making his 75th career start. Has been a runner-up, finished second 5 times.
How about the 2 guys behind them? There's the other of the top 3 in the points.
Wow, what a pace lap, 130-mile-an-hour pace lap side by side. Absolutely no one holding back here, no one thinking about the points here. I mean, Bliss is back there, the points leader, trying to hold off Musgrave. Musgrave back in 3rd spot, saying, now who do you follow? If you're Ted Musgrave, where do you go?
That's a tough one, because actually Rick Crawford can't come off the corner like he wants to get the full bite off the corner. Rick can get him getting in the corner, but Kevin's holding him down where he can't use all the horsepower off. He's actually feathering the gas right now.
Ted may loosen up whoever he follows too, so he may not give an advantage to who he follows.
And I just saw Crawford crank that steering wheel hard right because he got sliding coming to the corner, so that cost him some time.
The only way he's going to do that is lean on Kevin a little bit up into the middle of the corner and then get a good run up off the corner.
He needs to push Kevin up and take his groove away so Rick can run his own groove, get Kevin up a little bit high.
It's a great race for the fans, though.
Fans are on their feet here in Phoenix enjoying NASCAR's Craftsman Truck Series. And Harvick looks like he may be able to get the shot coming off the corner if he can pull it down. And indeed, here as they come down the clip away, lap number 80, Kevin Harvick will be the leader here in the Chevy Silverado 150.
See what Musgrave, maybe he can take a look on the outside of Rick Crawford. There he goes on the outside.
And Bliss is sticking his nose in there, so he's going to...
And whoa, Bliss almost gets a little bit wobbly down there. So it's a full assault on Rick Crawford from Musgrave, Bliss. There's Setzer back there, Travis Quapple.
This is going to give the 6 a little bit advantage. Them guys racing, and he gets a clean air in front of that Chevrolet. So that's what we were talking about earlier. If you get that nose down and get it in clean air, you're going to save your front tires.
How about Dennis Setzer getting racy here? The Makita Chevrolet. Setzer inside of the 60 of Quapple.
Looks like Danny Gill and his crew chief made some adjustments, made that truck a little bit better.
A year ago, just past the halfway point, Dennis Setzer was the fastest truck on this racetrack. He made it all the way to second and cut a tire entering turn 1 and slammed the wall, destroying the truck. Setzer said, we're going to be good, but it may take us a while, maybe even one pit stop to get this truck where I need it to be.
Well, I think they definitely improved this truck. He moved up into the 6th position right now, so Dennis is on the move.
And you see the 14 now, once he got out of the air and all that, he's catching the 6th truck again. So everybody's kind of a hero on their new Goodyear Eagles. It makes you feel a little racy. So we'll see who's got the best truck now as it runs run a little green here.
Yeah, fresh tires make you all look real good, huh?
Yeah, you see me on restarts. I'm actually feeling a hero when the tires are cold.
Hey, how about hard luck, Kevin Harvick? 74 starts and has yet to win in this series. Won everything else in Cup and Busch. Take a look. He's finished second 5 times. Nashville, Memphis, Bakersfield, Richmond, and then most recently at Richmond back last month or 2 months ago behind Tony Stewart.
He was about 2.5 seconds. If you add those differentials up, he was about 2.5 seconds from having 5 wins right there.
8 Busch Grand National wins, 3 Winston Cup victories, and there's
the 16's backing up, Jerry.
A little bit. He slipped a little bit ago, and there's Terry Cook making a good move. But let's see if Leffler can get by. And indeed, you're exactly right, Phil. The 16 of Bliss is backing up.
Looks like he's not going down the straightaway, does it, Ron? It looks like he.
I don't know if they got a draft off.
Okay.
I don't think they got a draft off him or what. We'll see here in a minute. But
Amy, what's the problem with Mike Bliss?
Same thing as the 18 guys, down a cylinder on the 16. This is big in our championship race. This team is taking their heads low right now, knowing that Bliss needs to hold on to that thing and finish. Hey, this is that lead lap scenario thing, which, Phil, I know you disagree with it, but that would be big for this team today.
And you know, we mentioned at the top of the show as you watch David Starr go by Bliss now, who's on 7 cylinders. And remember, I said that Dave Fuge was saying they were going to back off on the gear a little bit and try to cut down the RPMs and save the engine. Now, in the pits yesterday, the engine guy came up to me and said, we've had no engine trouble all year long. We've had bulletproof motors. And I thought Fuge wanted to choke him right there. He said, if we have an engine problem tomorrow, I'm going to be looking for you.
I talked to Dave before the race. He said, hey, yeah, maybe we're a notch less gear than we could run, but we're still turning 8,800 RPMs. So that's a lot of RPMs, even though they may have been able to turn 9,000 early in the season. But still, that's a lot of RPMs, isn't it, Ron?
it's unbelievable with their twists. And now, I mean, 76 when I first started racing, they go to 8. Now it's, you know, some of these guys carry his car with like 9,200 qualifying.
Hey, guys, look at this right now. Points as of now. Crawford within 22 points. Musgrave within 76. Folks, this could be very tight. We might have to have a runoff in Florida. Talking about the points and the votes being counted on the final weekend of the series. Championship weekend at Miami Homestead Speedway. Championship for the Busch, Cup, and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
I think Jack and I, you know, right now it's when they're biting their fingernails. We go down to that last truck race, and it was 3 points. Jack had to win the race, and I had to finish third. And I think I finished second, and we won the championship. But I know what these guys are going through. Mike's probably got tears in his eyes right now. He's done everything he can to work for this, and they've done a great job all year.
Those are the words of Ron Hornaday Jr., 2-time NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series titleist, who understands that what it takes to win a championship. On board with Kenny Schrader. And before we go, we got to say goodbye to Ron Hornaday Jr. Thanks for coming in and visiting with us, Ronnie. I know you're going to go down and get ready for qualifying in the Winston Cup car. Good luck in the Cup car. Good luck in the Busch Grand National Dr. Pepper Chevrolet.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much, Phil. And Doc, see you guys later.
Okay, see you, Ron.
Back to Phoenix in just a moment. And lots of ABC college football action coming your way tomorrow. Starting out at noon Eastern time, the Buckeyes taking on the Boilermakers of Purdue. How about that Atlantic Coast Conference matchup? NC State coming off their very first loss of the year last week to Georgia Tech, going up to College Park, Maryland, taking on the Terrapins. That should be a barn burner. The Wolfpack and the Terrapins at noon Eastern time. How about the 3:30 games? Some awfully good football games at 3:30, and of course at 4 Eastern time, USC and Stanford on the West Coast. ABC Sports college football action coming your way tomorrow. For more, log on to ESPN.com.
Good battle right here for the 8th position. There's David Starr taking a look at his onboard at Coy Gibbs. Coy's running 8th, David in 9th. Mike Bliss has just lost another position back to 11th. John Wood in the Navy Ford just was able to get by him. So Mike Bliss on 7 cylinders, he's not going to be able to battle these guys very much.
And you mentioned at the top of the show that there's a scenario that Crawford could end up leaving here as the points leader.
If Rick Crawford leads the most laps and wins this race and Mike Bliss finishes 16th, I think Rick Crawford leaves here with a 2-point lead.
As you watch this battle for second spot between Crawford and Musgrave, as they are behind Kevin Harvick. If you are Rick Crawford now, knowing what you know that Bliss is having trouble, does it change what you're doing for the remaining, 55 laps?
I think it does. I'm not gonna back off, let Ted Musgrave go by and let some of these other guys go by. But I'm not gonna take any chances. I want to win this race because I know that's what That's what I wanted to do my whole life. But I'm not going to take any unnecessary chances, knowing that Mike Bliss right now is crippled. I know I'm going to have a great day in points if I stay on the racetrack here, racing for the win. If we get down to the end, then I'm going to go after Kevin Harvick or whoever may be leading this race and try to win this race. So I'm not going to be the first champion who's never won a race.
You're so smart. That's why you were known as such a smart, calculating driver. You think about all those things. I just be saying, I got to pass that guy. Let's check in Crawford's pits with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, these guys are well aware of Bliss's situation. Most of these teams monitor the radios. They know what Bliss's problem is. They talked about it on the radio, and Crawford said, man, that's really great news. And Ray Stonkus, his crew chief, said, you forget about that. Focus on what you're doing, and let's go after that 6 truck. We know we can beat him. So they are still planning on trying to race for a victory.
Well, Harvick has never won in the series, and I've always wanted to win. I've won in Busch 8 times. I've won in Cup 3 times. I want to win a Truck Series race. These 2 guys here, as you look at the points as of right now, knowing that every lap they turn and every spot Bliss loses, they get closer to the front. Now it's 18 points between Crawford and Bliss and 17 for Musgrave. This could be very interesting. These guys hang on. We could go to Homestead with a 3-horse race, and wow, that would be a wild one there next Friday at 3:30 on ESPN2.
See, Ted Musgrave's a little farther behind as we saw that, so he needs that 5 points right there. He needs to get by Rick Crawford. He needs to get up there and lead this race and get another 5 points. So Ted Musgrave's not holding anything back. We heard him say that I'm going to take chances I've never taken before. I'm going to drive differently than I've ever driven before because we got to get up, we got to lead laps and win these races.
And here is Musgrave looking to the high side of Crawford. My only concern is that Crawford ran very, very hard after he had pitted and changed his 4 tires when it restarted. I'm wondering how much did he abuse those tires trying to hold off Kevin Harvick?
I don't think he abused him. I mean, I think Goodyear has such a good tire now. They're harder than they used to be. This is a new generation tire. It's hard to abuse these tires. But if you do abuse them, you'll never get them back. And I think that Rick is able to stay up here racing right now with Ted Musgrave side by side, staying in contact with Kevin Harvick. I don't think he's hurt these tires, or else he would fall back a lot farther.
And this is the same tire Goodyear had at Richmond when all the drivers were raving about how good this tire was. Tony Stewart ran 104 laps at Richmond on these same tires and won the truck race and said they were very, very consistent. In fact, some of the guys ran their quickest laps at 30 or 40 laps in on those tires, so they got even quicker.
That's exactly right. Well, the fastest lap of this race was run by Rick Crawford on the 82nd lap.
How about that? So kudos to the Goodyear Eagles for getting it done here in NASCAR. And as we're watching this action, the Mopar Dodge taking the spot away, or trying to, and Rick Crawford says, no, I'm from Alabama, so I'm going to fight back on the end. You got to take it. I'm not going to give you anything.
Yeah, Dennis Setzer right there running awfully well right now. Some terrific changes they made on that truck. Got him very, very competitive now in the 4th position.
The margin over a second now between the leader Harvick in this battle you're watching here between the 14 and the 1 for second spot. And talking about down the stretch, Mike Bliss. Mike has won here at Phoenix. He's the only driver in the field that's won here in Truck Series competition. You see that the 14 and the 1 have both won at Homestead, Musgrave and Crawford.
You know, Ted Musgrave has 4 top 6 finishes in the Winston Cup Series, so this is a great racetrack for Ted Musgrave. He may not have won here, but it's a terrific racetrack.
I was doing the Winston Cup race here in 1996, I believe it was, when Musgrave was running second to Rusty Wallace, and they all pitted, and Rusty beat everyone off pit road. Typically a great pit stop for the Penske crew, and the rains came, and Rusty was declared the winner, but Musgrave had a shot at winning that race.
Yeah, he's very, very good at this racetrack. So, again, he hasn't won here, but he's very, very good, and obviously he's racing right now for the 2nd position with Rick Crawford. Kevin Harvick's only about 8 truck lengths ahead of them right now. And here comes Dennis Setzer in the Makita Chevrolet.
Dennis Setzer making a battle of it. He's on a charge. I told you Setzer was awfully quick. And there's traffic up there. Dan Boyd is there in the Checker Auto Parts machine.
Regan Smith, the 63 Diamond Cut jeans, and Rick Crawford lost another position to Dennis Setzer. Now that's another 5 points. Rick Crawford does not want to lose any positions because each position he loses up in the top 6 is 5 points.
And with 1 race to go, you can't afford to lose anything.
We saw him at California running second late in the race. In the last 5 or 7 laps, he lost 3 positions. That was 15 points.
Hey, I told you Rick Crawford had finished second 3 times in All-Pro. He finished second to Joe Nemechek by 5 points. In the All-Pro title, finished second to Jody Ridley and finished second to Mike Cope. He's been a bridesmaid 3 times now, wants to be the bride. Let's check in the pits with Ray.
Well, Jerry, talking about Crawford and losing those points in the last lap there at California, I asked him about that. He said the big problem was I was looking in my mirror too much. He said I tried to block low, then I realized I needed to block high, and there's no way you can block 2 trucks at one time. So he lost those 2 positions on that last lap. He said in the last 10 laps of today's race, I'm going to rip the mirror off.
I guarantee you this guy does not want to lose anything. And as he told Ray to top, he says, I want to be your next NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion. And not only because he deserved it, he's been doing it a long time, has paid his dues, but an independent team. No sponsor. Had the American flag on the bed of that truck all year long, showing his patriotism, showing what Tom Mitchell was all about. A guy owns a truck stop and a motel in Ozona, Texas, and he has been a part of this operation for Rick Crawford for 11 years. So loyal to Rick Crawford, so loyal to his NASCAR team. And Rick says, you know what? I would love to have an independent become a NASCAR champion. That's what it all is all about. Grassroots racers becoming champions in NASCAR. Back in just a moment. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action. Laps winding down at Phoenix. That's when you know you're in total control. Our producer, Joe Frederickson, in the commercial says, now, Ted Musgrave, wait for us to make that pass. So don't make it in commercial. You wait. And Ted, you know, he listens to everybody.
I don't think he's listening to Joe. He wants to get by Kevin Harvick because he's got to get up there and lead this race. And right now, Rick Crawford's led 73 laps in this race. Robert Presley led 2. If Kevin Harvick was to lead the rest of this race, he would get the 5 points for leading the most laps. He would lead 75 laps.
How
so
about
right
that?
Now, for a minute, Rick Crawford wants Ted Musgrave to get by Kevin Harvick. All he's got to do is lead for a couple laps, and Rick Crawford will clinch leading the most laps.
So Rick is saying no, Ted, with regard to points, but go, Ted, with regard to taking the lead.
Exactly. He wants him to go up there, take the lead for about 3 laps, and then back up behind him, I think.
Wow. Remember when the late Alan Kowicki did that? He had to lead just so many laps over Bill Elliott in Atlanta to win the championship, and it all comes down. I mean, you run all year long, and it comes down to leading a couple of laps, and that's what's so great about this sport here at NASCAR racing.
We had a point battle coming into this race, and we're going to have a big-time point battle going to Homestead, it looks like.
Well, I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. Championship weekend at Homestead Miami Speedway begins 3:30 next Friday afternoon. ESPN2 coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Ford 200. Of course, Busch Grand National title up for grabs. Greg Biffle has a lead over Jason Kelly. There's the Ford 200 coming your way from Homestead, Florida, 3:30 Eastern time next Friday on ESPN2. The finale for the 8th season for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The 22-race, $12 million tour brings down the curtain at Homestead. They got the Champions Awards banquet coming up the next night down at the Ball Harbor in Sheridan. A Megan 4 being passed out to the top 20 drivers. As you're watching Kevin Harvick lead the way here with less than 30 laps to go, or 40 laps to go. Get your calculator out and carry the 1.
It looks like 34, but from here.
There 34 laps to go. Just what I said. Let's check in with Ray.
Well, Jerry, you guys documented earlier about Harvick's 5 second-place finishes in this series. Today is his 75th start in Craftsman Truck Series racing. Now, I asked him, is winning in the trucks the hardest thing that you've ever done? He said, absolutely not. Elena, my wife, and I are building a brand-new house, and trying to get the contractors to get that thing finished is the hardest thing we've ever done. They were supposed to move in the end of July and still aren't in the new house yet. He's getting a little anxious about that, but I think right now what's on his mind is holding off Musgrave.
Indeed, he wants to hold off Musgrave. He has tried. He and his wife, Delana, put this team together because Kevin said, one of my goals is to go back to the series that really gave me a shot in the arm when NASCAR, which is the NASCAR Craftsman Trucks, and I would become one of the few guys to win in all 3 NASCAR series, joining Bobby Hamilton, Terry Labonte, Mark Martin. Look at that who's who list. Kenny Schrader, and of course, Harvick has 3 Winston Cup victories, 8 Busch Series victories, and has finished second 5 times in NASCAR's Craftsman Trucks.
And remember which team he got his start in with us in his Craftsman Truck Series, the 75 Spears team, who won their first race a few weeks ago.
Here comes Musgrave sneaking in on, as my buddy Lee Corso would say, sneaking around the chicken coop. Musgrave coming from 14th starting position. The furthest back a driver has come to win it at this racetrack, 11th. Greg Biffle did it last year. And 1 week ago, Ted Musgrave, driving the Mopar Dodge, came from 31st after an engine change. Not only did he come from 31st, he led the most laps. That's how he got there in a hurry.
I'll tell you, that was a great strategy by Gene Need, his crew chief. They pitted early. They pitted on lap 25, which was was the only lead lap truck, or one of the only lead lap trucks to pit, but they made an adjustment. He saw that he needed to make an adjustment. He made an adjustment. He drove back up into the top 5, and then he was with the guys when it came time to make that next pit stop, and here he is right now racing for the lead.
Was Gene Need that smart when he was your crew chief, or he just get that smart recently?
Well, I taught him a lot.
You taught him? I knew you would take credit for it.
No, Gene's one of the best, smartest guys I've ever been around in the sport.
Absolutely.
We had a great time for 3 years as my crew chief, and I'm awfully excited for his success right here with Ted Musgrave.
How about the fact they're going by the 18, the Square D Dickies Dodge? Now, we mentioned earlier that Robert is down a cylinder. They've had an engine problem, so he is on 7 cylinders, but they go by him. Setting a torrid pace here. We've had 2 caution flags. We just joined our coverage. Lap 24, Regan Smith. Spawn didn't hit anything. Brought out the caution. On lap 69, Jason Small apparently had an engine problem. Got in the wall up in turn 2 and had to call it a day. So those are the only 2 cautions thus far, as we are still showing 16 trucks on the lead lap. Last truck on the lead lap. Still a pretty good run for the 08 for Bobby Daughter in the Stanley Steamer Chevrolet. Holding on to a lead lap, and Bobby trying to get his 5th top 10 of the year. Well, 28 laps to go as Gene Need out there talking to people in the pits, walking around hoping his guy can get it done. Harvick, Musgrave, and Setzer, the top 3. The duel in the desert continues here at Phoenix International Raceway. The Jewel of the Desert for the 11th time hosting NASCAR's Craftsman Truck Series. They've hosted more NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series events than anyone else in the history of this 8-year series. In fact, this is the 12th time we've been here. Pardon me, they started the very first race here back in February of 1995. As you watch Kevin Harvick holding off Ted Musgrave, let's check in with Amy, who's caught up with a driver who's fallen out of the race.
I sure have, Jerry. Open wheel standout Corey Kruseman. I'm used to watching you on Thunder telecasts, getting it busy on the dirt tracks. This is your first ever truck race. What was your experience, and why are you back here talking to me right now?
Well, yeah, really, it was a great experience. You know, Steelmaster, Menards, and Ackerman helped me get in the truck and go out there and get all the experience to make our first race. But unfortunately, a motor let go, and we're behind the wall now.
Well, Ackerman has sponsored you a lot in the Sprint Car Series, also IRL and the Truck Series. What's your deals for next year? Are you going to come run trucks with us?
Well, you know, Ackerman's, like you said, has been behind us a lot, and we're hoping to put something together to come out and run the Truck Series next year. We're working real hard with Steelmaster and Menard right now to put something together, so we got our fingers crossed. We got a good taste of it today. Hopefully we'll be back next year.
Great. That's Corey Kruseman, you guys, and it sure would be nice to see him on this circuit full-time next year.
Thank you so much.
And you talk about the fact that he has been in USAC sprints, and he's been a non-wing world champion. Well, years ago, just a few years ago, take a look at what this young man has done over the years in open wheel competition. But back in 1995, watch this flip at Sacramento 14 times. He tumbles down the straightaway, broke his arm in 3 places, broke the base of his skull. He was in intensive care for 5 days. And 4 months later, he's back on the racetrack and making his NASCAR Craftsman Truck debut today. By the way, made his Indy Racing League debut back in Texas for PDM. My buddies Paul Dadlevich and Chuck Bugman driving for them, so maybe he'll do some IRL racing in the future. A very talented race car driver, Ventura, California's Corey Kruseman.
Well, that was a wicked-looking flip there at Sacramento.
Wow. Reminiscent of your deal at Talladega years ago.
That wasn't much fun either.
And we're hearing there may be a problem on the Makita Tool Chevrolet for Dennis Setzer. How about it, Amy?
Well, last year in this race, Dennis was one of the dominant trucks, and late in the race, he had a tire go down, and he crashed. Again today, he was running some great lap times, currently up in the 4th position, but he has radioed to crew chief Danny Gill that he has lost a cylinder. Now, Phil, this is the 3rd truck. We've had the 18 of Presley, the 16 of Bliss, and now the 46 of Dennis Setzer reporting that they are down a cylinder. Now, typically, is Phoenix a tough track on engines?
Well, Amy, it is. These corners are so tight and so flat that these guys really want to get launched off the corner. And to do that, you got to put gear in them. But the problem is when you get down to the other end of the straightaway, you're turning so many RPMs that's really hard on an engine. So I think trying to get these trucks off the corners, these guys are laying a lot of gear to them, and they're paying for it with RPMs.
And that's certainly those RPMs they're paying it off with could have an impact and will have an impact on this point series championship battle. We came into the day, there was only 107 points separating Ted Musgrave back in third from Mike Bliss. Rick Crawford was only 68 points back, but Mike Bliss has lost a cylinder, is on 7 cylinders. That's Bliss on the left side of your screen, the IWX Chevrolet. Steve Coulter, Dave Fusion Company. And there is the points impact. Right now, if points were to be distributed, it would be Crawford only 23 back, Musgrave 67 back, and we have one heck of a sprint in the final race at Homestead.
Here we're looking out from Kenny Schrader's on board. That will be a position when he gets up to Mike Bliss. Now, I've been watching Mike Bliss. He's down, he's definitely down, but he's not down a full cylinder because he actually has passed a couple trucks for position here in the last few laps. So, but Kenny Schrader is running faster than him. He is going to catch him and probably will pass him. So Mike Bliss is definitely crippled, but it could be a whole lot worse than it is because he's able to maintain a pretty decent speed.
Hey, Phil, I got a question about Mike Bliss. We've been hearing in the garage all week this week that they will announce next week that Bliss is going to the Busch Series with Joe Gibbs Racing. How is that going to work out whenever we got to go to Homestead with a really tough points battle? Does that give any advantage to Crawford, or does that take anything away from the crew of the 16 truck knowing that their driver may not be back next year?
Well, I talked to Dave Fuge a few weeks ago. He said, hey, we've heard the rumors. I told Mike, I don't even want to know what's going to go on. All I'm concerned about is winning this Truck Series championship. So they're going to concentrate on that. These guys are professionals. They're going to do all they can do. They're going to have a bit of a bad break here, but they'll rebound and they'll be strong at Homestead.
And speaking of having a bad break, another driver is standing by with Amy East.
And he kind of snuck up on us. We're standing down here on pit lane, and Stacy, all of a sudden, I noticed you're standing here on the wall. I know early you guys had some trouble there with the plug wire. Is that what put you guys out?
Yeah, it is. I hate it for Jim Harris, Mark Mellon, all the guys on this team. We come to win, and we're not in the points hunt. We don't want to get anybody's way, and we got about 4 or 5 laps down. I think we had a good enough truck. We could have made up a couple laps, but 5 laps down, we didn't want to mess anybody else up, and we come to win. And knowing that we were 5 laps down, the chances of that happening were slim to none. We'll take it and go to Homestead.
All right, and Stacy Compton, we'll see him next week in Homestead. But can Musgrave catch Harvick? Will he get his first Truck Series win? Stay with us to find out.
NASCAR action exclusively here on ESPN as the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series 8th season winding down. 8 laps to go. And Ted Musgrave on the right side of your screen desperately trying to get by Kevin Harvick. Not only for his own sake, but if Musgrave were to pass Harvick, I mean, it would also help Rick Crawford.
That's right. That would, if Ted Musgrave would lead a couple laps, 2 or 3 laps, then he would let Rick Crawford clinch the lap leading bonus for this race. But right now, that position right there, not only is that for the win, Jerry, that's 10 points because Ted Musgrave has not led this race yet. So if he passes Kevin Harvick, that will be a 5-point position bonus plus a 5-point bonus for leading the race. So that's a 10-point pass right there if he can do it.
And Musgrave was wiggling, and I got to believe Kevin Harvick is going to be tough to pass, like taking a pork chop from a bulldog. Harvick it's his 75th start, and he has never won in this series, and he is going to be one tough guy to get by. Let's see who's fast as they come by at the line. We'll check on Harvick and Musgrave, Crawford and company. Harvick the quickest with clean air, Musgrave behind him. Crawford third. That's pretty well sums it up. How about the 60 coming pretty quickly? And there's Terry Cook right now being shown.
The fastest truck on the racetrack right now, Terry Cook in the 5th position.
Power stroke diesel Ford for Cook. Having a good run in the top 5.
This truck right here that Terry Cook's driving has won 3 of the 4 races that he has won this year in that very truck.
That is Groupie Dog having won Milwaukee, New Hampshire, and IRP. As you watch this battle here with laps clicking away. It'll be 4 to go next time by. Here's Musgrave trying it up high. Got some banking up there. Can he get a run off the corner?
He's got to try something because Kevin Harvick is right on the bottom of the racetrack. So Ted Musgrave's going to have to try to take some chances like he told us he's going to do. He really enters the corner wide. His truck really turns in the center, but Kevin Harvick's right there on the bottom of the racetrack.
Musgrave trying to get that Dodge to turn. It's Chevy leading the way. And by the way, if Harvick were to win this race or finish in the top 2, that could clinch the Manufacturers Championship for Chevrolet. First since 1998, so a lot at stake for the bow tie brigade. Harvick getting his first win ever in the series. Chevy capturing a Manufacturers title. Mopar, though, pedaling pretty hard. Musgrave trying to get a championship.
Being over here off the 4, stay in the middle, and come on.
And the caution is waving here with 4 laps to go. Leffler involved, the 50 involved. Remember, in this series, we do not end under caution. It goes green, white, checker. There's Jason Leffler, who spun to avoid a couple of trucks up there in turn 4.
What a tough break for Jason Leffler.
And the 50 got into a spot of foul. We're not too bad. Here we come now.
Ryan Hemphill making his 5th career start. It's a great run at South Boston. Top 10 finish. There's the U.S. Navy colors. Haven't said much about John Wood today, but a good run for John Wood and Jack Roush Racing and Max Jones in this team.
John had driven up into the top 10. Great truck. He was involved in that spin. He ended up getting a lap down on that spin. But what a break for Mike Bliss. He was back there at about the 11th position. Let's take a look what happens. Here you see the 4 truck of Ryan Hemphill, the 50 trucks trying to avoid Ryan Hemphill, and there's Jason Leffler probably trying to avoid the 4. So not sure exactly what caused that, but it caused both Jason Leffler and John Wood to lose a lap, which is going to allow Mike Bliss, who's now on the lead lap, still in the lead lap, to pass those 2 guys. There he comes right there in the middle of the screen.
On board Jason Leffler. There's Ryan Hemphill right in front of him. Inside the 75 Spears manufacturing machine, and Hemphill goes around. Leffler gets into the back of him as he tries to hold up. And there you see oncoming traffic. That was the view that Jason Leffler had a moment ago in the Team ASC CarQuest Dodge. Leffler headed down pit road toward you, Ray.
A lot of disappointment down here, Jerry, as you can imagine. They're going to come here because they've got a flat right rear on that number 2 truck after getting involved in that spin. So they're going to have to take care of this truck and get him back out there. But a good bit of damage on the right side there. Doesn't appear like it's anything that will affect the handling on this truck, though. But they do have to change the right side tires here and send Leffler back out to the racetrack.
Now remember, we do not finish under caution. It is green, white, and checkered. So we'll have a shootout for the finish, and to see what's going to happen headed down to Miami. Can Harvick hold on for 2 laps as Musgrave, as hungry as he is? Can he get by him to pick up the win and ease in on the points title? How about Crawford? If these 2 bump and grind, can Crawford get by both of them? We'll find out as we're going to have a shootout in the desert when we come back here for the Chevy Silverado 150. Timing, Jimmy Howell waves the green flag for the green, white, and checkered dash to the checkered flag. Overtime for the 5th time in 2002. Can Harvick hold off Musgrave? How about Crawford is back there? They're battling for position behind them. There's a 60-29 of Quapple and Cook.
Terry Cook got a great lead start, got him beside Travis Quapple, not able to make the pass. Here they come, Doc, for the white flag.
Jimmy Howell waving the white flag down there as they come by. Can Harvick get his first career victory in NASCAR's Craftsman trucks? Will Chevy win the manufacturer's title? Can Musgrave do anything? He wobbles coming off turn 2.
He's doing all he can do, Doc. He's on the hammer.
Half a mile from the checkered flag in the Chevy Silverado 150. Here comes Musgrave on the inside.
Is he going to use the bumper?
Fans are on their feet. They touch out of turn 4. And a Chevrolet will win the Chevy Silverado 150. What a finish for Kevin Harvick and Ted Musgrave.
Great job. That was awesome.
That's one happy guy right there, Kevin Harvick.
22 thousandths of a second, the margin of victory for Kevin Harvick. What an effort. And finally, in his 75th career NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start, Harvick is a winner, and he has now won in all 3 divisions. 8 Busch Grand National wins, 3 Winston Cup victories, a Busch Series title, a Winston Cup Rookie of the Year, and now Kevin Harvick is a winner in NASCAR's Craftsman Trucks. Listen to that crowd.
Well, he's against the rebel when they're doing his burnouts, Jerry. That's what you hear, Jerry, is 9,200 RPMs right there.
John Force couldn't have done it any better. Oh, gosh. And how about one happy Bakersfield, California driver, Kevin Harvick. When we come back, we'll talk to him in Victory Lane here at Phoenix International Raceway. Well, the Chevy Silverado 150 at Phoenix International Raceway is history, and victory lane is about to begin. It was a close finish. Final lap, and Musgrave's doing all he can do.
Little chrome horn action right there. He's going to get underneath Kevin Harvick. He doesn't get as good a bite down there, but he's able to pull up beside him and almost gets him at the start-finish line. What a finish.
22 thousandths of a second. That's the separation, and because of the green, white, and checkered, some guys moved up, others moved down, including our points leader, Bliss, lost a spot.
How about Schrader up 3 positions on the green, white, checkered? Bliss lost 1 position. That's 4 points, Jerry.
And let's go down with what should be a very exciting victory lane. Amy?
Exciting. Finally, this is a happy Harvick in a truck series victory lane. Kevin, 75 starts, 5 second-place finishes. You wanted this one really bad. How exciting is it to finally have your truck win?
This is pretty awesome. I mean, Chevrolet was awesome all day long, and you know, these guys, Ed and Jason, they all work hard at the shop, and the GM Goodwrench guys come and help, and we had the Rockwell Automation guys in the pits today, and just this has been the most frustrating thing I've ever done in my racing career, trying to get the first truck win. But thanks to Snap-on and everybody that helps us on this truck, just an awesome day for us.
When that caution came out at the end, you probably remembered the good old truck series has green, white, checkered shootouts. Were you nervous there at the end?
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous. Ted, he got into me a little bit down there, but he was a little bit better right there, but I could roll the second 3/4 part of the corner a little bit better. But man, it's awesome. To finally win a truck race is really cool for me, and I don't know what to do now. I mean, this is exciting, but I just want to thank Chevrolet and everybody that's helped us get to this point. And Ron Hunter, he does a great job with the motors.
Yeah, I got an idea for something for you to do. How about come run with us at Homestead? Oh, don't laugh. Say yes.
I would, but I'd already told these guys that we weren't going. We got to get ready for Daytona. So we're gonna let Ed drive the truck at Daytona. But this is an exciting day for us. It's a big weekend for us. I've run a lot of races here at Phoenix and come real close to winning races. But to finally win my first truck race at Phoenix, this is pretty cool.
All right, Ray Dunlap, I tried to get him to commit to come race with us at Homestead, but I can guarantee you one driver will be happy there won't be Harvick at Homestead, and he's standing by with you.
And Emmy, our point leader coming in is still our point leader going out, but boy, Mike, it sure got a lot closer today. Tell me what happened to you.
Well, when we went green on that stop, I don't know, around 70 or whatever, 65, we lost cylinder. It made it to the end. We had a top 10, but we had a really good truck today. I was just sitting there riding, and we loosened it up a little bit more right after that stop, and I don't know. We just, I guess we got 32 more. We finished top 10 on 7 cylinders. We ought to finish top 5 next week on 8.
I don't think I've ever seen a team do more preparation and go over the truck any more than you guys did this weekend. You couldn't do much more than you did.
It's just what happens. You can't do anything about that. You know, we changed the clutch because we felt like clutch was bad before the race. We did everything we could. This IWX guys, they did everything they could. We just we don't know what happened. Maybe a plug wire fell off. Hopefully something dumb like that, but I doubt it. These guys went over it pretty thorough.
Okay, a top 5 finish at Homestead, and Mike Bliss is still our champion in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
So he has to go down there and race for it. He can't just finish on the lead lap. 32 points separate Bliss from Crawford. Musgrave back in 71 points back. Starr, Leffler, they're in the top 10. Best points race in all of NASCAR. In my opinion, some of the best racing in all of NASCAR. And it goes down to one final event in Florida, Miami Homestead Speedway, next Friday, 3:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. Folks, we are going to crown a brand new champion, and what a race that will be. We got more from Phoenix, though, when we come back.
Ian from...
It all comes down to this, a season finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. One of the tightest battles in Truck Series history among 3 tough competitors. Rick Crawford gained his first win there in 1998. Ted Musgrave returns as defending champion, and points leader Mike Bliss has just a 32-point advantage over Crawford and the others. Join us as we crown a champion next Friday at 3:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. Let's check in with Amy.
Well, Rick Crawford, I know, is disappointed with a 3rd-place finish, but you grabbed the pole, you got 5 points for leading a lap, and you're only 32 points away heading into Homestead, and you know how to win at Homestead. Can you win this championship next weekend?
Well, if I didn't think I could, I probably wouldn't load one up in the wagon and take it down there. Circle Bar Ford's doing an awful great job. Ernie Elliott engines under the hood. Ray Stonka setting his chassis up. Look at the pit stop we had today. We come in first, went out first. Hats off to the guys. We're going to go to, well, this race is over. We're looking forward to next week, and maybe we can pull this thing out. I'm going to do all I can do in the seat, so we'll just see how it goes.
All right, you can bet he will. And a guy that'll be chasing Bliss and Crawford is Musgrave. Ray, can he win this championship next weekend?
Well, we'll find out, Amy, but first of all, let's find out about this race. Would one more lap made any difference?
I think so. You never know. I mean, I gave him a shot over there in 3 and 4 in the last lap. I thought I could run him up a little higher for the win, and came up about 3 feet short at the line, but the Mopar truck was good. You know, we were off a little bit to start. The guys made an adjustment. We talked about what to do, and I think we hit it right. You know, Kevin's truck was just as good as mine, and I got a little tight behind him. You know, the aero thing's kind of big, and, you know, I think if I was in front of him, I probably could have got away, but it's the way racing goes, you know, just try again.
We did a little calculating. 71 points back you are going to the final race at Homestead. What do you think about that?
It'd be better if it was 1 point. I mean, it's closer. You know, Rick Crawford's got a good shot at the championship now, and Mike had a little trouble. It's just good for the series to have something like that happen. 3 trucks are going in the very last race of the season, and each one of them can win the championship. What else can you ask for, you know? But I'd like to be a little closer, give my chances better, but I know the truck's going to run good at Homestead.
Okay, great run for Musgrave. He's got to go to the Cup Garage and qualify for tomorrow or Sunday's race.
And let's show you our unofficial results here. We had 10 trucks on the lead lap. Harvick, a first-time winner in NASCAR's Craftsman trucks. There's Musgrave and Crawford. Now the other 2-point contenders, Quapple 4th, Terry Cook in 5th. And you talked about Mike Bliss finished on the lead lap, and indeed they did, but they were the last truck on the lead lap.
They were in 10th position, so it's been very, very fortunate to finish in the lead lap with that engine problem.
Andy Houston getting a top 20 finish in the 15 for the Billy Ballou Ford. And Jason Leffler, after having a good run, more bad luck losing that lap in that last shunt there with a couple laps to go, finishing in 16th spot. And our final finishers here today, Mike Kofer, by the way, getting a top 25 finish. Good for Mike. And Corey Kruisman having trouble. These trucks did not finish here 31st through 36th. Back with more from Phoenix in just a moment. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action finishing up here in the desert. We saw a John Force type burnout. So how about some John Force action? Can he hang on and possibly get a funny car title? Automobile Club of Southern California Nationals coming your way, qualifying tomorrow, 10 Eastern time on ESPN2. Final elimination Sunday at 5 Eastern time on ESPN. So exciting finale for the NHRA series. NHRA California coverage coming your way on ESPN2 and ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Let's check in on the pits where Amy is caught up with our 4th place finisher.
And we told you earlier in the race that it was a tough weekend for Travis Quapple. Brand new truck, junk. You have to go to the backup. But Rick and the team, they really came through for you, and you brought home a 4th place finish. Tell me about your day.
Yeah, I really owe it to these cat rental store guys, you know. We brought a brand new truck here and tore it up in the first practice session, so dug ourselves in a hole right away. We really searched to find the setup for this truck, and we really didn't find it till the race started. We qualified 17th, and then pit stops came around. They bailed me out again. I think they picked me up 4 or 5 spots on pit road. So yeah, it was definitely a team effort, and really proud of the guys who gave me a great truck.
Again, this team needs strong finishes because there's no sponsor for this 60 truck next year, and we'd sure like to see them back with us in the 2003 season. Ray?
Well, Amy, so far this year, 4 victories for Terry Cook, and Terry, 3 of those wins have come in this truck, and I thought you'd be really great today, but you were never a factor. What was the deal?
You know, the Power Stroke Diesel truck, we struggled basically most of the weekend until qualifying and found something for qualifying. And we had a good truck today all day long. We just couldn't get the track position we needed. You know, at one point, we were as fast as race leader running them down, and you know, we stayed in the same straightaway with the race leader all day long, and we'd close it up and then get in traffic and stretch it back out. So kind of a cat and mouse deal all day long, but just too tight all day long and didn't have the track position we needed.
We've been talking a lot today about who's doing what next year. Are you going to have an announcement for us when we get to Homestead?
I believe we will. I mean, by the time we get to Homestead, I believe we'll have an announcement for everybody. And, you know, I've told a couple people this, and I'm going to say it to you here today now. Make sure they know how to spell Cook, C-O-O-K, because when we get to Homestead, they better have that trophy engraved, because I'm telling you what, we're going to put her in the bag at Homestead.
All right, that's Terry Cook, top 5 finish today, and making a prediction for next week.
All right, maybe they'll take old Droopy Dog down to Homestead, and Terry will get it done down there. Final thoughts when we come back to the Chevy Silverado 150 here in Phoenix. Our live coverage of exciting NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action from Phoenix International Raceway has been brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road, and by Coca-Cola. We have got the closest points battle in all of NASCAR. Take a look, just 32 points separate the leader from Mike Bliss, from Rick Crawford. Ted Musgrave has also gained 36. He's back in third spot, just 71 back. There's the top 10. Coy Gibbs rounding out the top 10 along with Travis Kvapil. And Phil Parsons, it all comes down to one race, 3 drivers, and 1 championship next Friday at Homestead.
Mike Bliss was incredibly fortunate in this race to be able to maintain a top 10 finish with an engine problem he had. He's got to go to Homestead and finish. If he finishes 5th, he clinches. That's not going to be a gimme. It's tough to finish in the top 5 in these Craftsman Truck Series races, so he has his work cut off him. He's got to go to Homestead loaded for bear to try to win that race, because you have to be that good to finish in the top 5.
And if you're Rick Crawford, you got to be thinking, you know, I got this guy exactly where I want him. He's going to be thinking all week about that. He's thinking about, I've got to finish in the top 5. Crawford and Musgrave have nothing to lose. They just sit there and just go full bore like Crawford did today and Musgrave did today.
They tried to lead every lap, and they tried to win this race. Now, they came up a little bit short because Kevin Harvick was here, but they know what they have to do. They've got to go try to lead every lap and make sure Mike Bliss finishes in the top 5.
Crawford has won at Homestead. He won in 1998. Musgrave, the defending winner. Bliss is a guy that hasn't won down there yet. Got to wonder how much he's going to be thinking this week, how much sleep Mike Bliss will get on the IWX team, knowing they have got to finish 5th or better to hold off these guys. And you know these guys are going to be chomping at the bit.
It's going to be a great weekend. I cannot wait to get down there.
Closest points battle in all of NASCAR. Let's check in for final thoughts. First in the pits, here's Ray Dunlap.
Well, Jerry, I think it's important to keep in mind that Mike Bliss and Rick Crawford have each gone 19 races without a DNF. Now, Bliss might have got a little bit lucky today that engine held together. But I think as we go to Homestead, one thing to keep in mind is that with these guys having such a great year this year, Musgrave, maybe he's out of that championship chase, but these guys are going to have a great battle down there. But I also want to keep in mind the fact that nobody has ever won a championship without winning a race in the modern era in the 3 major NASCAR divisions. Could Rick Crawford do it? If he does that, boy, I think it's going to be a very big feat. And as I said at the top of the show today, these guys are the underdog team, and they're going to Homestead with absolutely nothing to lose. Amy?
And Bliss, Crawford, and Musgrave will be happy to leave this gloomy Phoenix day with the cloud cover of Kevin Harvick not following them down to Homestead. It'll be a nice, hot, sunny day in Homestead, Florida, and it'll be one of the hottest battles in all of NASCAR's championship point races. But one thing that was a lot of pleasure, just for me personally today, was to interview Kevin Harvick in Victory Lane. 5 times with a second-place finish, the determination of coming back time after time again to get his first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series win, and he does it. But you know what? He's not going to Homestead, and that will leave the door open for an exciting finale to the 2002 season.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Ray. You know, Kevin Harvick becomes the 5th first-time winner this year in the series. Robert Presley began the year with a first-time win at Daytona in his very first start. You got David Starr as a first-time winner, Brendan Gaughan, Tony Stewart, who
Terry Cook.
And well, I'm talking about first-time winners this year in the series. But David Starr, how about Tony Stewart getting his first win at Richmond? He may go on to become a Winston Cup champion.
That's right. He's leading that thing. That's for sure with 2 races to go.
So Harvick not only gets his first win in his 75th start, he captures the manufacturer's title for Chevrolet, the first one they've gotten since 1998.
That's big for Chevrolet. I know they were counting the points just as we were for the championship for the drivers' points. They were counting the points for the manufacturers, and they said if they can finish it, if they can win one more race, actually even finish second in one of the remaining 3 races, this was as of last week, they would win it, and they did it in fine fashion with a win by Kevin Harvick.
Championship weekend will begin at Homestead Miami Speedway next Friday with the NASCAR Craftsman Trucksters. We'll be there at 3:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. It is the Ford 200 at 3:30 Eastern Time, 12:30 Pacific. Next Friday, we will see if Mike Bliss can hang on. Will Rick Crawford finally break through and become a champion? Will Ted Musgrave pedal a little bit harder and maybe get there to become a titleist? We'll all have it there from Homestead Miami Speedway next Friday. And, of course, on Saturday, the Busch Series Championship possibly could be wrapped up. Greg Biffle leading the Busch Series points. And what about the Winston Cup Championship? Right now, it is Tony Stewart leading Mark Martin and Jimmy Johnson. So great championship battles all the way around. And, of course, the NASCAR Craftsman Trucks getting it done next Friday. For Phil Parsons, Ray Dunlap, Amy East, and our special guest, Ron Hornaday, I'm Jerry Punch, once again congratulating Kevin Harvick on his win today at Phoenix International Raceway by 22 one-thousandths of a second over Ted Musgrave. We invite you to join us next Friday, November 15th, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2 for coverage of the Ford 200 season finale championship showdown at Homestead Miami Speedway. Coming up next, 2002 Bassmasters Tour. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Once again, congratulations to Kevin Harvick.